So I went to Disney. So on December 26th, day after Christmas, my girlfriend and her family, we flew out to Florida to go to Disney World. First place we stopped at was Disney Springs. We didn't go to any of the theme parks or anything that first day. We were still a little jet lagged because we're from the Midwest, so we had an hour difference there. So we went to Disney Springs first. And of course, if you go to Disney Springs, you got to go to the Disney Springs Lego store. So as soon as we got there, I've seen like videos and pictures of the Disney Springs store before, but as soon as we got there, the coolest part was seeing all the different sculptures outside. They have like that big dragon. There's like a knight fighting a dragon breathing fire. There's some Star Wars displays. There is some like Mickey Mouse, like Fantasia looking ones. There's a whole bunch of really big brick built sculptures at the Disney Springs store. And personally, the one that I was most excited to see was the Chewbacca with the big booty. That was the best thing I saw when I was there. And when we first arrived, the line was actually wrapped around the entire store, so we didn't even go in right away. We just kind of walked around and saw everything and went into a few other shops. But later that night after dinner, we finally got into the Lego store there. We only had to wait in line for maybe like 10-15 minutes. They work that line really quick. They get people in and out, so it wasn't like we were waiting there forever. But it was basically about like waiting for a theme park ride in that line because we just were so excited to get in there and see everything. There was a whole bunch more cool sculptures in there. Unfortunately, the minifigure factory was closed for the night because we got there a little bit too late. So we weren't able to do anything with the minifigure factory, but I'm hoping to go to Mall of America in the next couple months. I know they have one there. I've always wanted to do the minifigure factory. My local Lego store doesn't have it. It's a little bit smaller. So I'm excited to try that out one of these days. And since it was only the first day there, I didn't really want to buy a whole bunch of stuff because I knew I was going to be getting a whole bunch of souvenirs and fun stuff the next few days of our trip because we were there for about 5-6 days. So I knew there was a lot more of stuff to see, so I wanted to kind of hold back. So I didn't get any Lego sets or anything. I did get a small box of Pick-a-Brick because there were some things on their wall that I didn't have back home. So I got a few pieces there. And then they also had these mugs that are like souvenir mugs. You can see kind of in there it says Orlando, so it's actually like a souvenir mug from the store there. So that was kind of a nice thing that we could get there that you can't really find anywhere else. And that's kind of the things that I always like to see at different Lego stores. Isn't so much the sets. I like seeing the non-brick built stuff like keychains and those mugs, and sometimes they'll have like different kinds of knickknacks like ice cube trays and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff I like to get when I'm out and about at a different Lego store. And then also that same night, there was a little small Marvel shop in Disney Springs, which after my whole trip is said and done, I'm kind of surprised at the lack of Marvel stuff that's at Disney World. There's the one Guardians of the Galaxy ride, and then there was this other like Marvel shop that I found at Disney Springs. Apparently Disneyland has more Marvel stuff, like the Avengers campus, and there's like that Spider-Man stunt show thing. But there wasn't much for Marvel here at Disney World. But I did find this really cool Tony Stark arc reactor here. This was a really fun thing to pick up here because there was a lot of other replicas there. Like they had like Loki's scepter, Thor's hammer, Captain America's shield, and I already have a couple of those. But this I had never seen before, so this one was a really cool find here. And you can actually take the case off here, and then you can take out the arc reactor. It's in there with some magnets, and then you can actually flip it on and you can light it up. And then on the bottom of the case, it also comes with this little magnetic ring here, so you can connect it and you can put it under your shirt and you can wear it on your chest like this. So this was a really neat find here. I didn't really want to pass this one up, even though once again, it was only our first day, so I didn't want to buy too much, but that was kind of our first day there in Disney Springs, was getting those few things. So then on our second day, we went to Magic Kingdom. So we went to every single one of the kingdoms each day. So we started in Disney Springs that first day, and then we went to each of the kingdoms. So the first one we started with was Magic Kingdom, which that one is my girlfriend's favorite. And I was also really excited to go to that one because they had the Tron ride there. And any of you who have been following me for a while here, you know I'm a big fan of Tron. I love Tron Legacy. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I got that Tron Legacy Lego set. I got the Tron Legacy poster up in my kitchen. So I was really excited to ride this ride. I was a little nervous. I'm not a big roller coaster guy. I can handle a lot of roller coasters. There are just some where they are a little too big for me. Plus, they're just not as fun for me when it's just a bunch of drops. I prefer just kind of like speed and twists and turns. That's why I really liked Big Thunder Mountain. That was a really fun roller coaster. That one's in Magic Kingdom. That was probably one of my favorite rides overall, just because it's really fast and twisty and turny. But the Tron ride, holy crap, it was amazing. And to be honest, aside from just the ride, the queue for it was even really cool because you kind of start out as you're like entering the grid, as they call it. You're kind of like in this hallway with like these microchip looking walls, and then you're kind of entering like an armory, just like he does in the movie. And the whole time you're in this queue, they're playing the music from the movie. So like they're playing the Daft Punk soundtrack, like when he's in the armory, the music from the armory in the movie is playing. When you go into the area where you're loading up on the light cycles, the music from the arena in the movie is playing. And then finally, when you actually start on the ride, the music from the movie, like during the light cycle sequence and some of the other action sequences, is playing. So the presentation of that ride, the theming of it, which if there's one thing Disney World does the best, it's theming. Everything is on theme. I mean, if you look at a garbage can in the Star Wars portion of Hollywood Studios, it looks like a garbage can from Star Wars. So honestly, aside from just like the light cycle part, which was really cool, there were a few big drops that kind of got me though. I was a little woozy afterward. Not nauseous or anything, but I was just kind of like, whoa, it was really fast too. You go really fast on that ride. It starts off like 60 miles an hour right away. You're in like a little launch part and you just start going. And then there's like a big turn and a drop like right away. So it was really fast, it was really fun. Not my favorite ride throughout all of Disney. I think Big Thunder Mountain was pretty fun. But just the presentation of that ride was insane. Coming from a Tron fan, they did like everything right as far as the theming with the music and the look of it all. It just looked amazing. And of course, I couldn't leave the Tron ride without getting something from the gift shop afterwards. So one of the most useful things I picked up at Disney was this Tron light disc backpack. And I used this basically for the entire rest of the trip because we were carrying a lot of crap throughout those days. And it's not really that fancy of a backpack. There's really only one pocket. But the coolest thing is that the light disc on the front comes off. And believe it or not, it's also a Bluetooth speaker. So it lights up just like a real light disc in the movie, and it's making sounds. You can hear it's kind of got a gyroscope in there. You push this button, it'll make different sound effects. And it is a Bluetooth speaker too. That's not the reason I got it though. I have real Bluetooth speakers for that purpose. It doesn't sound amazing. Honestly, the main reason I got it was just because it's a light disc and it goes on the backpack here. And that sound is so satisfying. And there's also a part on that light disc where you can put in an identity disc like chip, and you get those from building an action figure. So you get to create your own action figure at the gift shop there. I could not pass that up. I'm so much of a Tron fan, I was just looking at everything in that store. And with the action figures, you can pick out like the body, the head type, the color that it lights up, and everything. And then the chip that is in your character, which is what emits the color, you can put that chip in the light disc and then your light disc will light up. So I'll show you what mine looks like here. So without revealing my face here, because it is my actual face on this action figure, you can see there it lights up red here, and then on the back, this is kind of where you take out that chip, and you can put that then in your light disc, and it'll light up the same color as your action figure. So there's another cool thing here. The whole process of making this was amazing because you go in this little sound booth kinda, and you're recording voice lines for your action figure, and then they take pictures of your face. So here, I'll do one of the voice lines here. Hopefully you can hear it.
I'm not your average program. Initiate life cycle run.
So that's my actual voice that is recorded on this action figure.
End of line.
And you could pick from, I believe, about 12 different voice lines. I think you could choose 4 to go on your action figure, or maybe like 6. So this was just a really fun thing to do. And I'll put a little video here of how they like present it to you when it's done, because you do this whole process, you record your lines, you take your pictures, and then they tell you, okay, come back in like an hour and then it'll be ready for you. And then they just present it to you in the coolest way. And the packaging of it all, just the fact that it comes in this like Tron arcade machine box, it's just really cool. Once again, the theming at Disney, they get it right every time. So then after the Tron ride, we did some of the other rides in Magic Kingdom. I think Tomorrowland was where they had the Tron one. They had some Buzz Lightyear stuff, like other space, like future themed stuff. A lot of those rides were pretty cool. And then we kind of just went around to some of the other areas like Fantasyland and kind of some of those other subsections of Magic Kingdom. I got to meet Mickey. I offered him a chance to hold my light disc, and he kind of grabbed it and took it real close. And I'm like, hey man, you can't keep that. That was like $70. And so we were kind of joking around. The performers there, for me, I mean, I'm a grown man now, I'm 25. So for me, it's not really about the story of it. It's more just kind of like the experiences you can have there. But it is really cool to see some of those performers and how like fun they can be when you interact with them. Tried pulling the sword out of the stone. Unfortunately, I was not strong enough. The force was not with me on that one. My girlfriend tried. Everybody tried in my group, and none of us were able to pull it out, unfortunately. But you know, that's just the way it goes. There was this one, this was kind of a funny part of the day. There was this one Christmas parade that was going through each subsection of Magic Kingdom. So they would go to each land inside the kingdom. And for whatever reason, they must have had the same kind of schedule or path that we did, because I swear to God, I saw that parade like 3 times that day, and they had this one Christmas song. And you know, it's a parade, so it's pretty long. So they're playing this Christmas song for like 10 minutes each time. And it's just like this really, I mean, it was kind of catchy at first, but then it just got stuck in my head. And I started singing it to my girlfriend by the end of the trip, and we were both just so sick of it. It kind of turned into a running joke, but it was just so like stereotypically like Christmas song. And it just felt like they said the word Christmas every 2 seconds. It was at Christmas time with Christmas. It was the most annoying song by the end of the trip. But it was just so funny that we kept running into them in every part of the park. So by the end of the day, we were just laughing because we're like, it's like they're following us. But you know, Magic Kingdom was great. Tron was a big standout, Big Thunder Mountain, doing my action figure. Magic Kingdom was, it was the first day, and it was probably one of the best days. And then the next day after that, we did Animal Kingdom. And to be honest, there weren't a ton of like big standouts that day because we didn't do a whole bunch of rides or anything crazy. It was more of a chill day. We went on the safari, we saw some animals. We ate a lot of food. It was pretty relaxed. It wasn't a crazy day. There was one standout though. I got this frog from a shop in Animal Kingdom, and my girlfriend's getting so sick of this thing, but I keep doing it. I keep going. Do you guys hear that? I don't know what it is about this. It just tickles a part of my brain. It's so stupid, but I love it. And so this has been sitting on our coffee table in our living room, and every so often I'll just pull out the little ribbit from my stupid little frog. So honestly, that's all I have to say about Animal Kingdom. It was a really laid back day. We didn't do a whole lot, but I love my little frog guy. So then our third day was Hollywood Studios. And I know I said Magic Kingdom was one of the best days, but Hollywood Studios was by far the best day. And you can probably imagine why. A lot of Star Wars stuff, a lot of Star Wars rides, a lot of Star Wars stuff I could buy. I was in heaven. So for starters, the first ride we did that day for Star Wars was Star Tours. And this was kind of the least involved ride for Star Wars. It was just kind of like a 4D experience where you get on a little ride and it just kind of shakes you around a little bit and there's a screen in front of you. So it's not too crazy. But the coolest thing happened. So this was my first time to Disney ever, never been there before. And with Star Tours, basically the story of the ride is that you're on like a tourist vessel, just kind of going through the galaxy. And on board, there is a resistance spy that the First Order is searching for. And when the ride starts off, they are questioning you, and then they're trying to figure out who the spy is. And one person from the ride gets their picture taken when you're boarding. You don't know what happens. They put it up on screen, and then R2-D2 is like, oh no, they found out who the spy is. We got to get out of here. And the ride kicks off, and then you're trying to evade the First Order. So this is my first time ever at Disney World, and I was the spy. Apparently, my girlfriend was telling me that people will ride this ride again and again in certain spots on the cart or in the vehicle to try and become the spy. I didn't know that. I was just really surprised. I thought it was really funny because my face in the picture, I was just kind of slouching and looking off to the side. I wasn't really paying attention. So this goofy picture of me is up on the screen, and then we just start going on this ride. So that was just a really funny, cool thing that happened. The ride wasn't too crazy, but just being the spy made my first experience with it that much better. Then after that, there was like a gift shop connected to it, and you could kind of see like a big AT-AT outside, kind of towering over everybody. And in that gift shop, they had a lot of cool stuff. You could build your own lightsaber, not as intense as or as involved as the Lightsaber Building, where you'd pay for like a couple $100s to make like really nice ones. It was just kind of more like a little kids section, but they had a lot of cool pieces. They were making like cross-guard lightsabers. They had like yellow blades, purple blades, a lot of stuff you don't see too often. So that was a pretty cool thing to see as well. And in that same shop, they had some signed like memorabilia photos from some cast and crew from the movies and shows. And some of them were like thousands of dollars. There was like a Grand Admiral Thrawn one, which was really big. Carrie Fisher's was really expensive. Peter Mayhew's was really expensive. Obviously, since they've passed away, those are a little bit more expensive. But there were some from like Matt Lanter, who voices Anakin in Clone Wars. That one wasn't too expensive. I honestly kind of thought for a second, I'm like, maybe I should buy that. But I was like, no. I was like, there's other things I want to buy that will go a little bit further for me than just a signature on the wall. And I think the first moment that it really kind of hit me, where I'm like, oh my God, I'm in Star Wars, was when you kind of go through, there's like this market square that you kind of go through, and there's a whole bunch of different shops. There's people selling like Jedi robes and like little trinkets and memorabilia. And that's kind of the moment where I was like, okay, this is really, really cool, because when it comes to like vacations and stuff like that, I don't really get excited until I'm there. Like my girlfriend, it will be excited like months in advance, like, oh, hey, were you excited? We're gonna go in December to go to Disney. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be great. And she's like, well, how come you're not so excited? And I'm like, when I'm there, you'll see it. And this was one of those moments where she just saw the look on my face. I was just like, oh my God, I'm in Star Wars. That was one of the moments where I was just like I said earlier, this trash can looks like it belongs in Star Wars. This random rock that is off to the side looks like a rock from Star Wars somehow. If there's one thing Disney does right, it's theming. And probably one of the coolest shops that we got to go to was the Den of Antiquities, I believe it was called. And in that store, I'll put a video up here so you can see, there were so many little like props and Easter eggs just all throughout this store that like I could have spent 2 hours in there just looking around at everything. Not even things that you could buy. They just had like random helmets and creatures and different blasters up on the wall that I was just trying to place, like, oh, that's from that, that's from that. Oh, I remember that from that show or that movie. There's just so many different references, and the mere, like the amount of stuff that they just have in there to just look at is insane, because it just really makes you feel like you're in a shop in Star Wars. Like some like underground little seedy like black market shop, because like they just had all these creatures taxidermized on the wall, and it's just really cool when they get all these little details right. There was one moment later that night where it was all dark outside, obviously, and I didn't notice it earlier in the day because it was dark, but if you looked up in the sky later at night, they had spotlights kind of going around that you could see kind of reflected on the clouds. And at first I was just like, what is that? And then you kind of hear in the back of your ear, there's like speakers kind of all around Galaxy's Edge. You can kind of hear like ship noises whirring around. So even down to this little minute detail of it making you think that there's ships above you, you can kind of see them just barely in the clouds kind of flying by, and you can hear the ship noises. It's just some of those details really make the experience for you. And that's what I'm most thankful for, that I got to see, was kind of experiencing it, not so much like, oh, I got to meet Chewbacca type thing. I mean, that is cool, don't get me wrong. We did get to meet Chewbacca. We also got to see Kylo Ren and some stormtroopers. They were pushing us out of the way. That was pretty cool. But I think just the small details are what really got me, because it's just like, it's insane how much they think of. Like there was one moment where I went to use the restroom, and the restroom looks like some gross place in a cantina where they have like this big like pig trough looking sink that's just like on the floor, and they got this big hose coming from the ceiling. And it's like, this is disgusting, but it's Star Wars, so I'm okay with it. And they have like speakers playing like Jabba the Hutt farting. Like I told my girlfriend that, she's like, I don't think they had that in the women's room. I'm like, that makes sense. But no, it was really cool to see all these small details. We also got some blue milk. It was like a blue raspberry slushy. We got it like right before we were supposed to go on our Millennium Falcon ride, and we were running out of time. So I'm like, just screw it, and I just chugged this thing. Kind of regretted that. I was chugging a blue slushy right before going on a ride. I wasn't feeling too hot beforehand. But I guess that leads me into talking about the Millennium Falcon ride. Honestly, the ride was fun, but once again, similar to Tron, just the queue was cooler to me, because you are literally walking through the Millennium Falcon, and I'll put some pictures up here. It's all life size. It all feels real. It feels like you're on set on a Star Wars movie, and the ride was cool and everything, but it was kind of disappointing in the sense that we had a group of 4 and then 2 other random people, because it's a 6-person ride, and you each get 2 people get the same role. So like I was a pilot, and then my girlfriend's stepdad was a pilot. Her and her mom were gunners, and then we had 2 random people who were engineers. So basically the Millennium Falcon ride kind of plays out like a video game, and everybody kind of has a role to play, and you get an actual percentage at the end of the ride to show how well you did. Our engineers didn't do enough. They were just kind of sitting there like, ooh, watching the ride, and it's like, hey, push some buttons, we got to get this thing done. But I'll admit, it was really cool. Since I was a pilot, I got to pull the hyperspace lever, and that was probably one of those moments where I was just like, oh my God, this is Star Wars. That felt really cool to do that. But when you're a pilot, one of you is doing left and right, and then one of you is doing up and down. I think I was doing up and down, and so it was just kind of hard to coordinate everything, but still a cool ride all in all. But once again, I think the best part was just seeing everything and being a part of that experience, not so much the ride itself. Then we also did the Rise of the Resistance ride. This was probably my favorite Star Wars ride. As far as the attention to detail, like I've been talking about, with this ride, there is a queue to get in, then there's a queue for that queue, and then there's another queue basically before you enter the ride. So like, it's a really long experience, but in a good way, because basically you're in line, kind of in like this cave looking place, and then you board this transport. So then there's a little bit of story on the transport, and it's kind of rattling around, you're kind of riding this transport. Then after that, you get captured by the First Order. You open up from that transport, you go into a hangar where there's like hundreds of stormtroopers, and then you get detained by them, and after that, you get broken out of the First Order prison, and that's the ride. So there's a queue for the queue for the queue for the ride. So like there's a lot that goes into this ride that for me, once again, the story wasn't so much as important to me at Disney, but this one, I think it helped a lot because you really got to immerse yourself in it. And they have a lot of like life-size, like stormtrooper, like animatronics, and then there's like people dressed up in First Order uniforms. And then the whole ride is basically you trying to escape Kylo Ren, and he's like chasing you throughout this ship, and you're on like this little speeder, and there's an astromech in front of you that's like piloting it. And I think that was probably one of the coolest parts, was just kind of being immersed by that whole ride and the look of everything. And it was a fun ride too. There were a couple drops that were pretty cool. It wasn't even a roller coaster. It was kind of like on a magnetic track that you just kind of float around on. And it's just kind of taking you up and down, left and right. And that was probably, I think, the best Star Wars ride for sure. Then we got some dinner, and when we got in there, I'll show you another one of my props here that I got. So this is a exclusive Galaxy's Edge X-Wing pilot helmet. So it's the same mold as like the Black Series Luke Skywalker helmet, but it just has some different markings here, like exclusive to Galaxy's Edge. Like this is the Black Spire like logo, and that's kind of where you are in the universe. It's called the Black Spire Outpost. So that was a cool thing I got there. I was wearing that to dinner, and the cast member who is kind of manning the door at this dinner place, he looks at me and he salutes me and he goes, "Captain!" And I just kind of salute back. So that was kind of funny. That was one of the coolest moments I had with a cast member, probably, because I was like, I'm in Star Wars land, I'm gonna wear my helmet, like, of course. So I was kind of walking around with that on, and we got dinner, and they had all these different like in-universe type foods. I think what I got was like a spicy Andorian tip yip chicken something something. And not gonna lie, it was actually pretty hot. Like it was very spicy, but it was really good. So the dinner for that was really good. We didn't go to like all the different food places throughout Galaxy's Edge. I think that was the only one we really went to, other than a little blue milk stand. But that dinner was pretty good too. Then came the 2 things that I was most anticipating this entire trip. Well, let me say this. There was one thing I knew I was anticipating, was the Lightsaber Building. However, I honestly forgot that they did Droid Building until we were there, and I saw like pins and stickers for it, and I'm like, hold on, we never like booked anything for Droid Building. And so I was like, we should do that, because like, when are we ever gonna get to do that again? So those were the two things. Once we realized like the droid thing was there, I was like, okay, we're doing our lightsabers and we gotta do droid building. So that's what we did later that night, was the droid building and lightsabers. And I think droid building was probably my favorite experience of the entire trip. It was like Build-A-Bear, but with droids. It was the coolest thing. It just made me feel like a kid again. And that was another one of those moments where my girlfriend just looks at me and I'm just grinning ear to ear. And I'm like, you see how excited I am now? Because she finally got it. It clicked, you know? She saw it on my face. So I'll introduce you here to my droid. This is R3D, of course. Had to make a red droid. So there's actually 3 types of droids that you can make. You can make a one that looks like Chopper, which I took the head from Chopper here in a different color. The body from R2, because that's another type of droid you can make, is an R series. There's R series, C series, and then you can also make one like BB-8, so you can make a BB series. I kind of wanted the best of both worlds, so I kind of combined R2-D2 and Chopper here in some different colors. And then the cool thing with Chopper is that you get these little head attachments here for the arms, so you can kind of put those on there. And then once you pick out like your body, your head, your legs, everything like that, then basically there is an assistant who helps you build it and put it together. Basically you get a screwdriver and you're putting it together yourself. It was really cool how they did it. And mine actually, it was kind of funny, mine had a faulty battery. My body had like a bad battery, so she's like, oh, I'm really sorry, but we're gonna have you build again. I'm like, fine with me. I had fun doing it the first time, I'll do it again. It was really cool. So I was like, why not? I'll do it again. So then once you get it all put together, they kind of charge it up, they get it ready to go, and then you get a remote control, and you can kind of pilot it however you want. So it's basically like a little RC car, but with a droid. So I'll show you here. So everybody say hello to R3D. So you can kind of pick different sounds for your droid. I believe there was like 8 different sound mixings that you could choose from, like everything classic from like BB-8 to R2-D2 to what I chose was a first order droid. So mine, you can turn the head here with the remote control. So I chose the first order droid because I just thought it was really funny how his beeps and boops sounded, very like deep, low pitch. And then you can also get like all these different attachments. So I got these blasters for the droid legs here. So you have basically a button for your voice on the droid and a button for your blasters, or whatever your accessory is on the side. I basically bought every accessory they had, except there was one that was just kind of like saw blade and like arm pincer attachments. But I figured since I already had these ones up here, I would just get the blasters. And then I also got an attachment in the back, which is basically like a tow cable. So it has a little magnet on the end, and you can have the tow cable here. And then there's also this little box that it comes with, this little crate, so you can attach it to the back and you can kind of drag something in here. Funny enough, first thing I did when I got back was I put a cat treat in here, and I attached it to the back here, and I had my cat kind of chase the treat with the droid here. At first he was a little scared of the droid, but only if it was going away from him pulling a treat, then he was interested. But if it was going at him, then he wasn't interested. So, but you know, that's how cats are. And then there's also all these other compartments in here that can open up. Basically anything that you see on a droid in Star Wars that can open up, or some kind of compartment, is basically the same thing on here. Everything opens up. There's all these different attachments. This was by far the coolest experience of my trip. And in addition to my friend R3D here, I was just having so much fun there, and there were so many cool things to buy. There was also this BD-1, and I wanted it so bad, but I really I was not able to warrant getting it there because I was already getting so much stuff at this point in the trip that my suitcase was getting a little full, and I didn't really want to pay to ship anything back. But my girlfriend said, how bad do you want it? And I said, really bad. And she said, well, your birthday's in January, so if I buy it right now, I'll ship it and you can have it for your birthday. And I said, sold. So this one just came in the mail just yesterday. So this one I've been kind of waiting for a little bit here. And this is honestly just as cool as my R3D. I do have a little bit more love here for him since I created him. I'm his father, but my BD-1 here is also very cool as well. So on the back here, you can kind of change the color of the light panel, just like in the game, how his back of his head lights up there. And then You can have him move forward and backwards with the buttons here. You can have him go left and right. He kind of, I'll see if I have some room here I can show you. He moves, at first I thought he would move like actually walk, but he's still on wheels. So you can kind of see here. Let's see. There's his beeps and boops. So just like the other one, he's got a sound thing going on in there. But so then this button here will do a little dance. So you can see how he kind of shuffles back and forth there. This is how he kind of turns instead of moving like the astromech droid where they kind of roll. Usually BD1 would walk, but this one he just kind of rolls. But he just shuffles along here just ever so slightly. So he goes really slow, but it's honestly really cute and kind of cool. I was definitely having my cat play with him a little bit. My cat likes him more. I guess R3D doesn't like that my cat likes BD1 more. He likes this one more just because he's not as fast and in your face and aggressive. He's a little bit more slow and kind of docile. But yeah, this one I really wanted to get to because I'm a big fan of Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. So this one I had to pick up somehow any way I could. So my girlfriend was nice enough to buy it for me and ship it home. So now comes the thing that probably everybody wants to do most in Galaxy's Edge, and I'm glad I did it too. Granted, I did love building my droid more, but of course, we got to build a lightsaber at Galaxy's Edge. So this is my lightsaber here. I basically, here, let me turn this off so you can hear me better. I basically chose the Sith option for the hilt, and I chose a red blade, of course, naturally, just like R3D, my droid. But you can also pick out different colored kyber crystals here. So I'll show you. For example, here's a yellow one. He likes my kyber crystal. There's a yellow one here that I wanted because I'm a big fan of yellow lightsabers. I got a purple one here too. I also got a white and another red because my girlfriend built a lightsaber too. So we kind of wanted to match each other because you can actually get a coupler for your lightsabers. So we were able to connect both of our lightsabers and turn it into dual-sided. So I'll show you that here in a second. But basically you can pick from 4 different styles of hilts. There's a Sith one, a Jedi one. There's one that's kind of like nature, kind of like a Wookiee themed one, which is what my girlfriend had here. So I'll show you hers. Hers is very like, R3D is getting mad that I'm not paying attention to him. So her lightsaber is kind of like very nature themed. There's a bantha tusk on the bottom. So she got a purple blade here, a nice choice. God, these droids keep talking to me. So she got the purple blade with the kind of nature hilt. And then there's one other one that's looks kind of like the Old Republic, very like, it's like bronze. And there's like swooping metal pieces on it. But I really, the one that spoke to me the most was the Sith one here, because I just really like the diamond hilt grip here. I like how the pommel on here kind of has these spikes, and I like this kind of swooping top of the blade here. So this is the one that I chose. I got some other crystals to switch out, but I'll show you my girlfriend's here a little bit better. This is the purple one. You can see it's very, I'm gonna make sure I don't hit anything here with this big blade. So it's very like nature. There's leather, there's straps. There's the bantha tusk on the bottom here. So I'm a big fan of her hilt. I just really liked the black one. I thought it looked a little bit better with the red blade. Obviously, black and red, kind of my thing. But I really like hers, honestly. And the purple blade, I think it just looks great. So we got an extra purple crystal, and I was actually combining her lightsaber and mine earlier with both purple crystals and made a big double-sided one. So I'll do that again here for you so you can see, because I think it looks really slick. So before I couple the lightsabers together here, I'm gonna show you basically what you gotta do is you basically take off the bottom of the hilt here, and then you just kinda gotta take this piece off, you loosen this one up here, because there's a lot of components that go into the hilt here. So then you just kinda take this middle chunk, comes off in 2 pieces, and then you can see where the kyber crystal is held there. So basically you can put in whatever color you want in here. There is blue, green, purple, red, yellow, white. I think that's it. We got an extra purple, extra red, so we can each do a double-sided one if we want when we couple them. And then I also got a yellow, and my girlfriend got a white. So I think honestly, out of the colors that we had, I think the white and the purple look the best. So we're gonna make a double-sided purple lightsaber here. So you just pop this crystal out, and then let me get the purple one here. So then we just pop the purple crystal in here, just slides into this chamber, and you can see it lights up and makes some sound there. That's how you know it's good. So then you can see we got this red tab here. Red goes to red, so we put that on there. And then we get the other piece of the hilt, slide that on there. And then we just got to rebuild it a little bit. We just kind of slide this on here. Oop, other way around. There we go. So we just connect that again. We got to tighten this one a little bit. And then instead of putting the pommel back on here, I'm just going to grab the coupler. So this coupler you can get, I believe it was about $20. We got it right after we made our sabers because we're like, we're going to really want this coupler to make a double-sided one. So this coupler you just connect onto here on the end of each lightsaber. So you can see there's also some grooves for the other saber that's going to go in there. So here is my girlfriend's saber, took the pommel off that one. We just got to screw this one on right here. So it'll connect right in the middle. And then we should have our finished product. So let me pull back here and I'll show you the whole thing. So here we have our coupled lightsaber. I can't even pull back far enough for you to see the entire saber here. It's so long, but it is as long as a double-sided lightsaber would be. So here you can see that coupling piece right there that just screws into both of them. So let's get this bad boy powered on. Tell me that doesn't look sick as hell. I really like how the double purple looks here. I got an extra red crystal so we could match with red to make a double-sided red, but honestly, I just love how this purple one looks here. It's just so slick. I'm probably gonna hang it up on my wall outside of our bedroom. We were thinking about putting it above the bed for a while there just because it would look really cool, like how some people put swords above their bed, but I mean, I think this double purple is really gonna look slick on the wall. I do have just one more thing to add though about the lightsabers at Galaxy's Edge. I will say the quality between the Galaxy's Edge sabers and the Black Series sabers leaves a little bit to be desired. So here I'm gonna show you the Galaxy's Edge one again here so you can see it light up. And then I'm going to show you the Black Series one here. This is Rey's lightsaber from the Black Series. If you didn't catch that, I'll do it again here. It's all about, see, you can even kind of see it with the de-ignition, but when you ignite it, you can see the Galaxy's Edge one kind of lights up in quadrants. There's kind of like 4 or 5 different strips of light in this blade, but you can see it kind of goes off the same way there. But with the Black Series one, the Black Series saber here, way more gradual of an effect. It takes the same amount of time to light up, but it's a lot more gradual. Like there's more lights in there. It's a lot more fluid. So I just like the ignition more. See that one? It just goes down the same way there. I like the ignition and de-ignition on the Black Series sabers just a little bit more. Which the reason I say it leaves a little bit to be desired is because with the Galaxy's Edge sabers, you're paying just as much, if not more, than you do for the Black Series ones. And I understand that there's a lot that goes into it, including the experience of it. You get to build it in a very private room. There's only 8 or 10 people that are building sabers at the same time with you. It's not like a big roller coaster ride where you have 30 people that are experiencing it with you. It's a very personal experience. Very story-driven, very cool experience. So I get that the price kind of goes into it there. But as far as just the saber is concerned, I feel like the Black Series ones kind of win out in that category. But still, the Galaxy's Edge ones are still really nice because there were some other sabers they were selling in the Star Wars portion that were not the premium ones that you were building in that experience. They were much cheaper, and those looked even worse. It was just, when they would light up, it would be like boom, 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 boom. Like it was very obvious that there was a few different light strips in there, and it looked a lot worse. And at first I was a little worried when I saw those because I was thinking, well, if that's what the Galaxy's Edge sabers look like, I don't know if I want to do this because that doesn't look good at all. But the Galaxy's Edge ones that you make in that experience are definitely better than that. Overall, I'd give them probably a 7 or 8 out of 10, but the Black Series ones, 10 out of 10. They look amazing. The lights on it are perfect. The sounds are great, but the Galaxy's Edge ones are still good, just not as good. All right, so if you made it through all my rambling on this long video of my Disney trip, thank you so much for watching. I had a really fun trip on my vacation. It was great to be there. I'd never been there before, so it was amazing for a first time. I'm glad to be back making videos though. Hope everybody had a good holiday, good new year. I'm ready to get back in the swing of things, so get ready for some more content coming your way. Don't forget to Stud-Scribe, and thanks for watching.